Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Sunday service of Now Creations. We are literally this morning from coast to coast, from north to south, and most of all, it's just nice to be with all of you here this morning. Just a joy to be in the energy, to share this wonderful spirit that we have with each other. Speaking of that wonderful spirit, I want to very encouragingly and warmly invite you to our meditation tomorrow evening. It's going to be about spiritual healing. I believe that this is a big advance for Now Creations. It'll take us a few weeks to get everything in shape, but I very, very strongly encourage you to join us if at all possible. It'll be tomorrow evening from 7 to 8 o'clock. Just click on study groups and scroll down to Monday meditation. With that in mind, let's begin. My dear friends, I truly have been very inspired recently by the awareness that so many of you are feeling and expressing in your lives. It's not just that you are doing your spiritual practices. It's not just that you are living differently by bringing awareness to the planet. It's not just that you are modeling a behavior that is exemplary for all humans. More than any of these things, what really has moved me is that you have begun to see yourself differently. You have begun to honestly change. You have begun, in a sense, to change that identity of seeing yourself simply as a human being to beginning to see yourself as a larger spiritual being. You have begun to change your sense of self. Thus, today's teaching is entitled, "The Time Has Come." The purpose of the teaching is to help you to continue your transformation into what you are becoming more and more. I will begin by with a saying that we have heard many times before, then focus on a teaching from lesson 95 of the workbook of A Course in Miracles, and then proceed to 3 practical considerations of the teaching. The time has come. Let's begin. The saying that many of you are quite familiar with is the following quote from Teilhard de Chardin. You know it well. The quote is, "I am not a human being having a spiritual experience, but rather I am a spiritual being having a human experience." You know this quote quite well. We've stated it for many years, but until recently, many spiritual people would hear the quote, enjoy its momentary fuzzy feeling, but then revert back to living in the dramas of the human experience and quite honestly forget the fact that they really are a spiritual being. How many times have you and I done this? We loved the quote, felt the fuzziness of that feeling, but had not quite yet advanced enough to be able to live it. The human experience had just too much of a grip on us. Not anymore. Not anymore. The time has come. The time has come. We are now hearing this quote from a new place. It's like, quite frankly, we are hearing it for the first time, or perhaps more so, we are beginning to experience it for the first time. I really am a spiritual being. Let's stop there. I really am a spiritual being. How long it has taken us to realize this. because we have played the game of separation for such a long time, and only recently are we wrenching free from the grip that the world has held on us. Let's be clear as well. You have been able to break the world's grip on you because you have done the work to change. You have changed not just how you see the world, you have changed your sense of self. You have begun to see yourself as a spiritual being. You are self-aware. You are self-conscious, not in the lower energies of the world, but in the elevated world of spirit. You are now more and more recognizing yourself as a conscious spiritual being. You have begun to consciously say that I am a spiritual being. I am a spiritual being. And now you are going one step further because the time has come. Let me explain. You are identifying yourself as Lesson 95 does in the workbook of A Course in Miracles when it describes you in these words. I am one self united with my Creator. I am one self united with my Creator. Now, honestly, isn't this what you are either becoming or have become? You are the one self. You are a spiritual being who is united to your Creator. You are a spiritual being with the mind of God. Now just take a moment and digest that. I mean, honestly, isn't that true? You are absolutely united with your Creator's mind. You and the God Spirit are consciously one. Isn't this what a spiritual being is? You have accepted the mind of God and the will of God as your mind and your will. More than anything else, you want to live in the mind and will of God. And as such, because you want to do this, you then begin to feel again that wonderful teaching from Course in Miracles. You are taking your rightful place as a co-creator of the universe. You are taking your rightful place as a co-creator of the universe. And might I say you are doing so with many others in now creations, as well as many others throughout the world. Now, in your wildest imagination, did you ever think that you would say that you are consciously taking your rightful place as a co-creator of the universe? Yet, isn't that what you are doing? Because you have become a spiritual being who functions consciously in the mind and will of God. You become a spiritual being who functions by way of mind and will in the mind and will of the God Spirit. We've done this. Now, I understand that there may be a part of you that says, oh my God, Vince, I am not that spiritual yet. Yet. Yet there is a part of you that does feel this and knows that it is true. And at the very least, it is what you are becoming. If in fact, you have not already become. The time has come. The time has come, here and now. Now, with these thoughts in mind, let us examine 3 practical considerations of our spiritual identity. These are just fun. The first consideration all of us have had the experience of is knowing or learning something new, an experience of just acquiring new knowledge. For example, someone says to you, shows you how to bake a cake, and you say, I see. Or someone shows you how to plant garlic in your garden, and you say, I see. Or someone shows you how to send an email on your computer, and you say, I see. Well, in the same way, have you not been shown how to be a spiritual being? Have not the great figures of history like Jesus and the Buddha shown you? Have not so many of our contemporary writers such as Eckhart Tolle shown you? Have not many of our exemplars such as Mother Teresa and Martin Luther King shown you? What did they show you? How to be a spiritual being who thinks and acts with the mind and will of a spiritual being. And now you see. I see this. I've been shown. Let's be more specific. What all of the great teachers have shown us is how to be, especially in the words we have now of Jim Self, how to be a 5th dimensional being, not a 3rd or 4th dimensional being who's still in the grip of the consciousness of the world, but a 5th dimensional being which has the following 3 characteristics. The first characteristic of a 5th dimensional being is to see yourself as a spiritual being, as a soul spirit who is connected to your God energy. Are you not this? I mean, honestly, right now, right here, are you not right now, right here, connected to the God spirit? Isn't this who we now are? Connected. The second characteristic, the 2 most important qualities of a 5th dimensional being are what you have. They are the qualities of oneness and love. Are not these your qualities now? Do you not see everyone as a child of God and everything as created and sustained by our source energy? Are you not one with our source energy? Of course you are. And truly, have you not begun to love whatever arises in your life? And have you not become aware of the words of Jesus on page 94 of A Course in Miracles when he says, teach only love, for that is what you are? I mean, don't you feel that that's what you have become? A spiritually loving being. You want to love everyone. Again, do you not live as a 5th dimensional being, a spiritual being who is now united to the God spirit, exhibiting the qualities of love and oneness? You have changed your sense of self. You have ceased simply being a very nice human being, and you have now become the spiritual being, consciously, self-aware, who is having this human experience. Yet, there is that third aspect of being a fifth dimensional being. You are also in a physical body. You are a conscious spiritual being in a physical body. Isn't this what it means to be a spiritual being, having a human experience? You are a fifth dimensional being, exhibiting the qualities of oneness and love in the physical body. And are you not saying now, I see. I see. That's what I am. The second characteristic, speaking of being a spiritual being in a body, the body, your physicality, now takes on a new significance. This is especially well presented on page 151 in the text of A Course in Miracles under Chapter 8, Section 7, entitled The Body as a Means of Communication. The body as a means of communication. The Course quite clearly states that you are not a body, you are a spiritual being. The body is simply a means of communication for joining and uniting your mind with the minds of others. Now, if you just change the word mind to spirit, as the Course teaches, then you understand that your body, your physicality, is a means of communication to join your spirit with the spirit of others. Isn't this what you are seeing? Isn't this what you are doing? Hasn't the time come? You are joining your spirit with the spirit of others by exemplifying love and oneness. Last night in our spiritual enrichment class, we just had such a wonderful saying. All of the opinions kind of boiled down to this: community supports individual growth. Isn't that what we are doing? Our spiritual community is supporting our spiritual growth. And then someone said, well, the individual growth is also supporting the community. Do you not see this? We are supporting each other, growing together, and yet individually as spiritual beings, because we are uniting our spirits to each other. Again, you're taking your rightful place in the universe by creating the good, the beautiful, and the holy, using your body as a means of communication. Could be by a smile. Could be by baking someone a birthday cake, or by simply joining one of our groups in Now Creations. Again, isn't this what you're doing in your body? Edifying others, being examples of goodness and love, bringing awareness to the planet by being conscious fifth dimensional spiritual beings, now having a wondrous human experience because you have changed your sense of self. And now your time has fully come. The third and last consideration, maybe the best one of all. As a spiritual being having a human experience, you are beginning to rewrite the principles of human experience. Oh boy. As a spiritual being, you are beginning to rewrite the principles of the human experience. For example, the human experience says no one is perfect. You say everyone is perfect. For you now know what the words of Jesus meant when he said, be perfect as your heavenly Father is perfect. Because you have become a conscious spiritual being in the mind and will of God. Now, isn't that true? You are no longer just a limited human being. A second example, the world says there are only two things that are certain, taxes and death. Well, we still pay taxes, but we no longer believe in death because you are an eternal spiritual being. You no longer define yourself by the human body, but rather by your eternal conscious spiritual soul. You've changed. And lastly, speaking of the body growing older, beset by illness, and eventually dying, you have begun to see rather than that view of illness, aging, and death, that your spiritual life now is one of endless expansion, seeing more and more, becoming more and more, awaiting the next brilliant manifestation of your precious self with others, joining in your party of life. You're rewriting principles of limited humanity to much more expanded principles of spiritual awareness. In a nutshell, you have stopped saying, I'm only human. You have started to accept the fact that you are a divine being, a divine spiritual being, having this incredible human experience for the glory of God. That's what we're doing. In conclusion, the next time you hear these words, I am not a human being having a spiritual experience, but I am a spiritual being having a human experience, I think you will simply softly smile and embrace that truth. Because your time has come to do so. Our time has come to do so. Yes, we are doing so together. Let me now take you into meditation, and what a joy it is to do so. Would you just pause even before we start the meditation? And right now, right at this moment, would you just notice how good you feel? Just how good you feel right now. Why do you feel so good? Is it not that something within you has been lit up? It's the inner you. That is you. And are you not fully conscious of you? You are fully self-aware of you. Now, would you just gently say to yourself, I am a fully conscious spiritual being. This is not just a warm, fuzzy feeling. This is the truth of who you are. I am a conscious spiritual being, fully aware. As a spiritual being, I live in the fifth dimension. just means a few things. The first one is that my consciousness is the consciousness of God. My mind and my will are the mind and will of the God Spirit. And then secondly, because my will and my mind are of the God Spirit, the two major qualities that I exhibit are oneness with everyone and everything, and I love everyone. And by love, I don't mean doormat. I mean a discerning ability to see what a situation calls for and respond accordingly. As a spiritual being, you live by the qualities of oneness and love. Oh, and by the way, you're doing this in a human body. Your body is of the stardust of the earth. But you aren't. When your stardust has come and gone, as the earth itself will come and go, you won't. But you will have had a wondrous human experience in your stardust, also known as the human body. But while you're in a body, or at least in a sense, inhabit a body, have a body, you realize, well, the body isn't you, but it's a means of communication, as A Course in Miracles clearly states. It's a means of communication. For many of us, the means of communication is one of oneness and love. We get it. The body is a vehicle of oneness and love. It's pretty remarkable that you can be a spiritual being in a body and you can show it with a smile, just a smile. What a terrific conveyor the body is when you smile. Or you just give someone a hug or pat them on the butt, whatever it might be. You're just using the body as a mode of communication. That here is where we have advanced. Not just to do your thing as opposed to another's, but to use your body as a communication vehicle to join your minds and spirit. We have really done this in our groups of now creations, where our community has supported the individual to be their best, to do their thing. And the individual now has supported the larger community to be its best and to do our united thing. I mean, don't you see it? We don't join bodies, we join spirits. That each individual soul might express the wonders of the divine. Our time has come, individually and as a group, to be a community of spiritual beings. And when we play our Namaste Song, would you acknowledge the people on our call this morning, as well as the many others who join us? And would you namaste certainly them, but would you first namaste yourself?
free to be within that space. I honor thee, seen through eyes an illusion, seen through spirit. We are one. I honor thee. I honor thee. I honor thee. Namaste. I honor thee. I honor thee. I honor thee. Namaste. I honor thee. Namaste. I honor
It's taken a while for us to get out of the human box, but we have. Thus, I happily extend my spirit to you as I receive yours into mine on behalf of all of us. Namaste.